telling us to enjoy it while they're young. But our days are filled with chaos and stress and cooking and endless laundry piles. Where's the time to enjoy anything? Yeah, that's what I always thought too. There's so much I have to do. When do I find time for peace and joy and happiness when I barely have time to sleep? Mama, it's time for a shift. You can be a happy mom. Yeah, it's possible. If I can, you can. Trust me. I've been a mess. I've been depressed. I've been overwhelmed. I've been to the bottom of the pits. And I've risen. I've grown. I've bloomed. And it all started when I realized I didn't have to anything. I get to. It is my privilege and my honor and my divine responsibility to be the queen of my home. It's not a burden. I'm not the janitor and the lunch lady. I'm in charge. I'm the ruler. I'm the chaos coordinator. I'm the calm in the storm. I don't have to anything. I get to. And so do you. So let's rise, mamas. Adjust your crown. Accept your responsibility. And change the effing world. It's all in the way you choose to see it. You're listening to I Get To, the podcast with Brittany Clarkson. That's me. Hello, my friends. It feels like forever since I have sat here and recorded. I went away for a weekend of business and personal growth. Really. And it felt like so much more than a 2-day trip. There is so much that I heard and that I learned, so many shifts that have happened, and I can't wait to implement them and teach you so much more. But I went to the Powerhouse Women event and I met so many amazing and inspirational women there. One of which being Kacia Ghetmiri from the EmpowerHER podcast. And her and I had this great little conversation. And I thought, you guys might benefit from that conversation. What happened was I was dealing with some mom guilt at one time that I had overcome. And I completely forgot to bring you guys into the loop on that realization that I had. All right. So a couple months back, I was getting ready to book my VIP weekend with Allie Casaza. She is my business mentor, if you didn't know. I drop her name all the time, talk about her all the time. So that is why she is a huge part of my life right now, being that she's helping me grow my business. If you're looking to grow an online business, I highly suggest her. She's amazing. Or if you're looking to simplify, she is the queen of decluttering. Simplifying mom life. Highly recommend her. Anyways, but I was planning to take this weekend away, and I was feeling so much guilt about having to leave my kids with my husband. Like, for one thing, he hates being home alone, and they were going to be spending one night with my mom. And then I felt guilt about leaving them with my mom because 3 boys can be a lot to handle for a grandma. My boys can be a lot. They are 2, 4, and almost 6. They are, when you picture 3 small boys, that is them. They spend a lot of time in the mud. They spend a lot of time jumping on each other, a lot of time starting fights with each other. And I felt so much guilt to leave someone else in charge of them for a weekend. And I realized that wasn't really fair to my husband to not give him the credit that he could handle it. That wasn't fair to me to not give me a break if they really are so much trouble. That's not fair to me to not take a break. And it's not fair to my kids to label them as tiny troublemakers, to call them chaos, to not give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe they would behave a weekend without me here. Maybe they would be just fine. Maybe they wouldn't cry themselves and scream themselves to sleep. Because you see, what happens is my youngest, he's 2, he is very clingy to my husband. And when my husband had to stay out of town for work a few months back, that kid cried for hours at night. I could not get him to sleep because daddy always puts him to sleep. That's my husband's job to put that kid to sleep because they're just 2 peas. That is daddy's boy. And he was not a fan of me trying to put him to bed. Um, and so I was like, I can't leave you with all 3 of them knowing that the other 2 are so clingy to me because I usually put the other 2 to bed. And every time I told my 4-year-old that I was preparing him for a couple weeks. And every time I'd been telling him that I was going to go, he would almost start crying and just so many tears in his eyes, questioning who will lay in my bed with me, who will make me my peanut butter sandwich, because he didn't trust his dad to make the right kind of peanut butter sandwich. But there was just so many things that I was putting on myself, and I was not giving enough credit to my husband, not giving enough credit to my own mom, not giving enough credit to my boys that they could all handle me being gone for a weekend. And it felt so right for me to go on this trip. So I wasn't sure why those doubts were coming up. You see, and then shortly after I'd thought about applying for the VIP business training with Allie, shortly after I began thinking about applying for that, my husband got invited to go to ConX, I think it's called. It's a big construction expo in Las Vegas in March. And he got invited to go to that. And he just so easily was just like, "Oh yeah, it's cool if I go to this. This is happening." And it was like so in his mind okay that he leave the family to go to Vegas for a week with his coworkers. And I don't have a problem with that. The problem I had was when I realized the problem I had with me asking to go on a weekend trip. That's what hit me. And I was like, wait a second. I'm glad you don't feel guilty asking about that. You shouldn't feel guilty. But I didn't realize how guilty I felt about wanting to go away for a weekend. I have said no to so many opportunities. There's been MOPS conferences I wanted to go to. There's been book launches for people I've wanted to go to. There's been a lot of traveling opportunities I've wanted to take, but I didn't even play with the idea really of going because I talked myself out of it. I gave myself such a guilt trip. I put so much shame on myself that I would even think about going. I talked myself out of so many opportunities. And it was in that moment of my husband, getting invited to go somewhere that I realized that is so dumb that I feel guilty about that. What is that? Why do we do that to ourselves? But that's when I decided to make it stop. I'm not going to feel guilty about going away for a weekend. And you know what? I did it. I went away. It was supposed to be a one-night thing. And then I found out about Powerhouse Women event. And I was like, well, I'm already going to be in town. Might as well extend my stay one more day. You're cool with that, hon? Husband was cool with it. Extended my stay, bought my ticket to Powerhouse Women. Spent 2 nights out of town. And I got home. Apparently the kids only fought one time the whole weekend. One fight. And the kids that have potty training issues and tend to emotionally pee their pants didn't. They went a whole day at their other grandma's house without peeing their pants. So emotionally, they did just fine. And my 4-year-old, who's super clingy and attached to me, within 2 hours of me first time seeing him being back Sunday morning, because I came home super late. I came home 1 a.m. Sunday morning, so I didn't really see them. They think I was gone 3 nights. But Sunday morning, we're sitting down, getting ready for breakfast. One of the first things this kid says to me is, when are you going again? Are you going to leave us again to go on another trip? He wants another boys' weekend. He's ready for me to go again on another trip, just immediately. The kid that was crying when I told him I was going to go because he was afraid that who will lay in his bed at night. And he was fine without me. They were all fine without me. And I did awesome being out of town on my own on a trip because I let myself do well. I let it be easy. I didn't allow myself to stress the whole time I was gone. And it worked out so amazingly for everyone. So if you're feeling like a pull to go somewhere, to do something, to spend a little bit of time to yourself, hun, do it. Mama, you got to take care of yourself and you got to listen to those pulls. When you just feel it in your gut that you want to go do something. You feel like something would be good for you. If it's, even not even like a trip, if it's just something self-care wise, like you should maybe see a chiropractor because your back hurts. And maybe you should spend a couple hours going to a masseuse, get a good massage. If there's something you could do to make you feel better as a wife, a mom, a human being, you should do that. And you shouldn't feel guilt and shame about doing things for yourself. Because it's just dumb. Like you don't need to feel guilt and shame over wanting to do things for yourself. You should be doing things for yourself. You're not a selfish person. Okay? When you should feel bad about it is when you're constantly choosing yourself over your kids repetitively and you're not even giving them the time of day, you're not feeding them, you're not loving them, you're not kissing on them. Like if you just don't care about your kids and you only care about yourself, then yeah, you should feel bad about that. But I know that's not you. You care about your kids. You love your kids. You care about your husband. You love your husband. You taking time for yourself is a good thing. You should do it. Your whole family benefits from you taking care of yourself and from you doing things for yourself. Give that some thought. I want to challenge you this week to do something for yourself. Do something that makes you feel good. And not for others, just for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of I Get To. It really does mean the world to me to have you here. But are you ready to take this a step farther? Check the description below this episode and grab the Happy Mom Mindset mini guide. It's totally free to you, and it's not just for moms, by the way. Then hop onto Instagram. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Share your screenshot, tag me, Britt Clarkson. And if any part of this has resonated with you, I so appreciate if you'd leave me a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts. It really is just the only way podcasts get seen. And then share this on social, text it to your bestie. You're part of a movement now. We're here to change the minds of moms everywhere. It doesn't have to be just this hard, hot mess thing anymore. We get to enjoy our lives, guys. Let's go.